and align it with everything. So what we're going to do is create a plane, but instead of translating it and trying to orient it, I'm going to just snap the vertices to the corners of these axes or to the axes themselves. So because it has so many subdivisions, we're going to just change how it looks. So in the channel box of that plane, if you go under inputs, I'm just going to change the subdivisions to 1. So it's just one full plane without any subdivisions. It's just blank. Okay. And then I'm going to go to vertex mode. And do you guys know how to snap vertices to a point? I think you do. We're just going to hold down V. So you select it, hold down V, snap it to the first axis. Second one, hold down V, snap it to the second axis, and so on until you have this. Okay, the normals should be facing the camera, of course. That should happen automatically, but if you notice that your normals are facing the other axis, just reverse them. And we are going to center pivot. I keep forgetting where, there it is, under modify, center pivot. Okay, so we're simply aligning this to the axes. All right, any questions so far? All right, so the idea is that we are going to assign. So you see, I asked you to grab 2 images. One of them is this billboard, is this very non-creepy billboard that we're going to have as our image. And the other one is a reflection map. So this would be what would replace an HDRI in this case. So the reflection map is what was in front of that billboard in the real street, in the real location. Okay, because you remember you were seeing some sort of trees moving on the reflections. This is those trees, essentially. It's the reflection, and you can see it's also flipped. So we are going to use this and put it on in another plane right in front of the original plane to give me the correct reflections. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the plane I just created. I'm going to duplicate it, Control D, and I'm just going to move it behind the camera, and we're going to make it much bigger. Okay, something like this. We are basically doing a very quick version of what an HDRI should be doing, which is to wrap itself around the whole scene and give us reflections. But when this is not available, when we are not planning on doing a full lighting scenario, this is something that we can quickly go into Maya to achieve and come back. Please make sure the normals are facing each other. So for this one, I just duplicated. The normals aren't facing each other. So I'm going to go to mesh. Where's the normals?
Reverse.
Where is it?
Yeah, the 3 from the top. Third one from top.
Oh, right. There you go. Thanks. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, there it is. Okay. Thanks, Mo. So as long as your other card is behind the camera and quite bigger than the first one, and the normals are facing each other, we should be good to go right now. And just to tell you theoretically what we're planning on doing, we want to assign a redshift material on the first one, which is the billboard, and then attach the texture. And for the second one, we need to assign a surface shader. We don't want it to have reflectivity by itself. We just want the reflections to exist from the billboard. So let's get started. Please let me know as soon as you have any issues so you can keep up, okay? So we're gonna assign a redshift material for this one. Oh, huh. I don't see redshift for me. Let's see. I just needed to load it. Let's try that again. There we go. So I'm gonna do a redshift material. There it is. And then in the material attributes, I am going to go into color and attach a file. And that file is going to be that clown texture. Okay, you need to press 6 to see the texture. And if it's flipped, I'm simply going to go invert or reorient the UVs. So I'm just going to go to face mode, UV, UV editor, and I'm simply going to go to transform and rotate. No, the other way. Yeah, that should do it.
Hi, Kristine. Could you do that one
Yes,
more time, just a
of
little
course.
slower?
Yes, yes. I was going to repeat all of this anyway. I'm just reading John's question first. You think your billboard is horizontal. So, like, your axes didn't come facing the camera, they came horizontal to the camera. Oh, yeah, it sure is. Could you share your screen and show me in Nuke which points you selected for your axes, please? And Stephen, I'll just repeat all of that in a bit for sure. I think I speed through this step because I assume you guys like have done this so many times, but I'm gonna do it a bit slower too. Joan, are you gonna share your screen? It's up to you. If you wanna, if you know how to fix this, please do, but you can let me know. Yeah, yeah, there you go. So just go to vertex mode and just snap them to each axis. Yeah. Yes, perfect. Okay. So back to your question, Stephen. Are you good with the two planes facing each other?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so all I did for this one is I attached a redshift material. This one here. And then to attach a texture to the redshift material, I went into the material attributes and into the color, I attached a file. And in that file node here, I am going to the folder just to locate my clown sign. Okay, once I opened it, I pressed 6 to give me the texture view in the viewport. And mine was kind of oriented wrong. So I went to face mode and I went to the UV editor and I simply went down to transform right there. And I used these tools to flip it, and I kept checking on my screen which way is the right way. Okay,
Okay, cool. Thank you.
no problem. So I'm going to be back to object mode now. And I'm going to do the same thing for the reflection map, but not a redshift material, please. It has to be a surface shader that doesn't emit any reflection. So I'm going to assign a new material. It's going to be just a simple surface shader, this one. Okay. And then in the out color, we're going to also plug in a file. And that file is going to be the reflection map. It's also flipped. So I'm gonna go and orient this in the UV editor. So UV editor, I'm just gonna flip this and that should be correct right now. Okay. I'll give you guys a second because this is the setup we want. The last couple of steps would be to get some nice reflections going on the billboard and then render that out with the correct timeline and everything. Kaiser, could you specify which part would you want me to do again, please? Let's see. The background part. So this one, right? The reflection map. Sure, I have assigned a new material. No problem at all. I've assigned a new material that is a surface shader. So this one right there. And then from the out color, I have chosen a file. And in that file, I have chosen my reflection map. This one. Okay. I opened it, and because it was flipped for me, because the UVs were not, they just happened to be like this, I usually just go to face mode, UV editor, and then flip it from these tools under transform. So there's the transform tab, I open it, and I just flip from here. Okay, hope that helps. After that, we are going to go to see everything from the render camera's perspective. So I like to open an IPR render from here. You see it says IPR. And from inside the IPR window, I like to go render and then render cam. So this is what the render camera is seeing. I know you guys are used to opening the Redshift renderer window, but for this time, I am using this window right here that's called IPR. So two things to change. Firstly, the environment of the camera, which is the render camera, should be black. So I'm going to select the render cam. I'm going to scroll down into environment. And I'm going to change this to black. Okay, I think you should all know how to do that, but please let me know if you need me to repeat. So render camera, not perspective, right? So the render camera's environment needs to change to black. After this, if I go back to my IPR render, go back to render cam, you should see that the environment is black. But what we see right now, and I'm still rendering in Maya software, by the way, I should render in Redshift and turn the IPR on. Oh, I think the Redshift license on my computer needs updating. It's okay though. But just in case you're not familiar, IPR would just be like a real-time render. So you need to activate that button and you need to see it surrounded by a red frame. That means it's up to date. All we need to do right now is go into the Redshift material that we have and change the Fresnel type under reflection to color plus edge tint, and that will allow you to increase reflectivity. And as you can see, updated live in the render, I will now see some reflectivity in my shot. Okay. It won't let me annotate. There we go. So I'm just going to circle what we need to change. Okay. I usually go over this part a little quickly because these are modeling things that I've been told you guys do multiple times, but I'm happy to repeat if anybody needs to ask anything. So I also have it on my window. If you want to take a look, this is the thing, this is the part that we changed inside the Redshift material. Any questions that are specific, like if there's a step that you're stuck on or need me to repeat, let me know. If the reflection looks different from others, could you specify what you mean by others?
Sorry. Okay.
Mo, you're unmuted. It's okay as long, I mean, it could be a different reflection that you're seeing. It could be a different frame that you're on. As long as you can see that it's reflecting something, then that's correct. I'm just going to remove my annotations so that I can show you what I mean. So if I go to any other frame right now, it's going to update what the reflections are. So, but as long as you change the Fresnel type to color and edge tint, that should be it. And I want everybody to make sure that we are at 100 frames. So let's update our timelines to match what we had in Nuke, right? So in Nuke, we have 1 to 100. So I'm going to change this to 100. And as you are on the last frame and on the first frame, just make sure there's no gaps. If you see any gaps in your reflections, that just means that you need to make the reflection map a bit bigger. So this one needs to be big enough and positioned correctly so that it covers all areas that the camera is going to be traveling through, right? Okay, so we're just going to make sure of that. And then once you are happy with the reflection, you can obviously just take it and increase it a little bit more. If you go to this Redshift material, I can increase the reflectivity like that, which is going to be very, very reflective. We don't want that, of course. We want just a little bit to have behind the texture. And that's pretty much the changes that we're going to do. Okay, now I would like us to set the project and so create a new project and set the project so that we are able to launch a batch render together. We might be a few minutes after 4. So that's why I'm just going to keep going. And if you need to repeat any of the steps, you will have the recording ready for you. Okay, so I'm going to go set project, project window first. And for me, it's right here. I'm just gonna, oh, damn it. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right here. And I'm gonna call this cleanup. Accept, set project. And we're gonna save this. Please use the naming convention later on, the one I gave you in Moodle, to save this as. but for now, I'm just going to call it cleanup just to make it a bit faster. Okay, I will give you a few minutes to do that, and then I just want everyone to meet me at the render settings right here. Okay, so just open up the render settings once you have set the project. So let's take 2 minutes to set the project and save the scene and everything, and then I'll meet you here to give you the settings that we need for batch rendering. All right. Is everybody ready for the render settings? I think we'll just go through them, and if you need a bit more time, you can ask me after, or you can get back to the recording. So it's very important to set the project before the settings, because we need to see the path going correctly. So if you see here, it needs to go to your images directory. Okay. We are going to change the image format to Targa. We are going to check the animation box, and we are going to choose start frame 1, end frame 100. And don't worry, I'll keep those settings up for you if you need to. And most importantly, we are going to change the renderable camera to render cam, and the preset, meaning resolution, to HD 1080. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep that up for you. I'm gonna try to get the annotation tool. It's not letting me do it anymore. Sometimes that tool is just like right there. Sometimes I can't find it. All right, so image format Targa, animation checkbox. We always specify that it's the frame range that we want, which is 1 to 100. And then we are going to change the renderable camera to render cam, and then the resolution to HD 1080. Everything else, because this is not like a full-on lighting scenario, we can keep it the way it is. If you were doing this with lighting, which I don't know if you have already or you will soon in your lighting class, you will have an HDRI with proper lighting, and you will go through the process fully. But this is like a more of a compositing integrated technique if you don't want to do the full lighting first. Okay, so once you have that set up, you can just give your scene another save, go to the rendering menu, and just go to render, batch render. So we don't need to click on the option box. You just click batch render, and that should open up the render window for you. Mine's gonna be watermarked because the license must have expired on my school computer, but it's okay for you. It should all be good. And we're just gonna give it some time to render. That might take a while. But once it's done, we're just gonna grab it and take it to Nuke. And I'm gonna show you where we are going to attach this. Okay, so this is actually taking much longer than usual for me. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's take 5 minutes. Hopefully, most of our renders will be done. If they're not done, I will simply demonstrate with the, so you see here, I barely have one image rendered. Let's see. Yeah, now there's two. I will demonstrate with the amount of images I already have, which is the same application, of course, and then we'll just wait for everything to finish after the class. Okay, so I'm just gonna give it 5 minutes for render, and then I'm gonna proceed with the final demo in Nuke. Do you have any questions during that? Let me know. Is anybody's render going faster than this? Usually it's slightly faster as far as I remember. I don't know how many of you were able to get to the render stage though, but if someone's render is running faster than this, that's great. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show you what would happen in Nuke when we're done. So I would simply save a new comp version. So that's like the step that is left is really not that big. It's simply to detach these guys. We don't really need them for now in this new version. And right after we have our merge node set up, I will bring in my images folder. So of course now it only has 10 images, when it has the full 100, we can replace it. But for now, I'm just going to bring this over. Any errors that you see, you can delete for now because it's still running. And I'm going to merge this on top of everything. Oh, because I'm on the wrong frame. So I'm simply going to go to frame 1, and only the first 10 frames for me work. And again, mine has this Redshift watermark. Let's see if this helps at least a little bit. Yeah, you don't need to add a pre-mult, but you could. And this helps with the watermark for me on everything else. So this is what you would want to do. But you see how we have some white borders showing up? That's because we cannot be pixel perfect when we are using axes as a reference. So all we need to do is add a transform node, slightly increase it in terms of scale. So I'm going to do maybe 1.01, just enough to cover up a little bit more of that edge. And now, what do I have that I saved from before that allows me to maybe cut some of the borders? Can someone tell me where I'm going with this? So what do I have in my tree that I created earlier that allows me to come in here and cut some of these borders? Because I could have gone to 1.02 actually. You see how much bigger this looks? I need a way to limit where this image exists only in the white parts, only in the inner corners. What do you think I can use right now? No takers? That planar track that I have right there, I'm going to grab it, and because I had asked you to keep it limited to the inner part, it's going to do exactly that for me right now. So I'm going to grab the mask from the merge onto this roto, and it is going to give me the exact limit of where these should be. So you see before, after. You can also feel free to add some feather. If you click on the Bezier itself, you can feather it up. It just makes it a bit softer, just ever so slightly. And once the whole frame range completes, you'll be able to see the reflections in motion like this, as you can see. And that's it. I'm just going to zoom in on my final tree here. And just remember that, like every submission, this needs to happen, and it's all on Moodle. I'm, of course, going to see if there's any questions coming up. I know that for the last couple of steps, coming back to Nuke, maybe not all of you got there yet, but it's simply this. It's literally that last bit that we added that uses the planar tracker that we created before. And that should be it. Let's see if any questions are coming up right now. All good. I hear someone unmuting, but I don't know if you're trying to say something.
I wanted to ask if you had some time after class. I just had issues with a project that could use your
Oh,
expertise.
right now, no, but tomorrow, what time are you on campus?
Tomorrow I am on campus at let's see here. I am on campus at 4.
Oh, you arrive at 4?
No. It's tomorrow's Tuesday, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, 4 o'clock, yeah. I guess I don't know if you'll
Okay,
be around.
I will finish at 4, so I guess I can, like, if you make it, do you have a class at 4 or something?
Yeah, I can make it a little
Ah.
earlier, so
Okay,
make it
I have a
accurate.
class until 4, but usually I can finish a bit earlier. I'll be on the other campus. Why don't
Oh,
we
okay.
do that? I can come to the studio.
Perfect.
Is the class from the studio?
The class is I'll be in the studio. Yeah, it will be in the
Okay.
studio. Yeah.
Okay, I'll probably be able to make it at like 3:40 if that works.
Okay, perfect. I'll come earlier then. And
Okay, perfect.
okay, thank you.
We'll stay in touch. No problem at all. All right. Any other questions? If there's something that you prefer having someone right next to you help you with, you can always ask Hannah. And if not, as I was just saying to Stephen, I am on campus tomorrow if you need more help. And I should also be seeing you for that extra class that we are going to just reschedule at this stage for this Friday. Funda should have already sent you an update, or you should just wait for an update from her. And if there's more questions by then, of course, I can help you with other things as well. Okay? Okay. For now, I'm going to end the call. Please let me know if you need any help. I will be on campus tomorrow and Wednesday as well. So feel free to reach out, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.